Okay, good morning, 8th graders. This is Mr. Perry trying out Screencast-O-Matic for the first time with week 4 of the setting unit. This is one that we covered in class yesterday, but just for the benefit of having it available to you this week as you work on your reading, I am going to run through the whole document again. That includes the section, chapter, and page numbers, your literary element focus notes, which we're going to go over together, and I'm going to explain what you are doing in each section of the rest of the doc. So let's get started. With week 4 of your document, you are finishing your books. If you're reading Hunger Games, Lord of the Flies, or Inside Out and Back Again, you are finishing your books. If you are reading The Omnivore's Dilemma, you are reading the rest of the chapters and the afterword Vote with Your Fork and The Omnivore's Solution, which will offer some tips for our own eating habits, and the special Q&A with Michael Pollan, where he gets a chance to reflect more on his journey as time has gone on. And if that sounds like a lot because you are reading the rest of the chapters and 3 other things, it is about the same amount of pages that you have been reading all along, so don't worry. For your literary element focus notes, we are talking about setting as it relates to the hero's journey. Now, the hero's journey is the way of framing the story in terms of what the character did. But setting is as important to it as anything else, because the hero is going to leave a familiar place, go into uncharted territory, and come back, hopefully, with something to improve that original ordinary place. Or maybe they make a new home somewhere else. Sometimes the ordinary world is a frame of mind that the character is experiencing. And so the setting at the end is going to be more about what the character is feeling than it is about where they are physically. So let's dig in. In terms of the status quo of the ordinary world, for the hero's journey, when that has to do with setting, the ordinary world is the place the story begins. A place of comfort and contentedness for the hero. And the hero is the protagonist or the main character. They are reluctant to leave because it is a perfect existence. We'll put quotes around that because often it just seems like it, in a bubble for them. Or they are desperate to leave because they are displeased with the way things are. And we'll go with contentness. See, English teachers make mistakes too. Oh, what? Apparently I didn't. Okay, so then the ordinary world for your book, it's going to be different based on what book you're reading. So for Lord of the Flies, I can tell you that the ordinary world, the status quo, we never actually get to see it because we only see what happens after the incident that put them on the island. They do talk about their lives beforehand, so we can kind of guess where it is, but there is a clear starting point for a character like Katniss Everdeen in the Hunger Games, for Ha in Inside Out and Back Again, and even for Michael Pollan in The Omnivore's Dilemma. So you can fill that out on your own. In terms of the special world is the place the protagonist or main character goes when the story begins. A new, unfamiliar location with new rules and dangers that the main character has to learn about in order to survive. And this can come in a variety of ways. It can be an adjustment period, like how are you going to survive, like as yourself, your values are being challenged, like with Inside Out and Back Again, when Ha leaves Saigon, and where she goes, there are a couple places, to everything that Michael Pollan learns about the world that we live in and how and where our food comes from. It could be about like the politics and the danger that Katniss faces in the capital and in the arena, and similarly that Ralph faces on the island. And then at the end of the story is a return to or a new status quo. The main character emerges triumphant. Hopefully. Sometimes they don't. They return home with treasure. Treasure doesn't have to be literal. It could be like the knowledge that they gain along the way, or the friends they made along the way. That works too. They return home with treasure and knowledge to improve the ordinary world. Or they create a new status quo within the special world. Maybe the special world adopts them, but the main character has become an inhabitant of both of these worlds. And we really can't get into what the new status quo in your book is because that is heavy spoiler territory. We're talking about the endings of books here. So that's up for you to decide for yourself. I will say that in quite a few cases, your new status quos are going to be about the main character's mental status, their mental health, what they went through over the course of the story, and how that has changed them. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me, tperry@brocktoncsd.org. I check it at any time. Moving down into the spaces below, these are all sections that you don't need me, actually, to fill out. Because what settings are used in this section of the story, time and place, how are they described, and how does the main character feel about the setting? As you're reading your book, just take note of those things. And your weekly reading summary. What impact does the setting have on the story? What does the character experience and contend with because of the unique setting? You are summarizing the story in terms of what the character did and how the location, time periods changed and affected the story. So this should be pretty substantial. Just all I ask for is a few sentences per chapter. For Inside Out and Back Again, maybe every 10 pages you pause and write down the greatest hits of what happened. Then you're going to choose one or two of the enduring issues, the 8 enduring issues that we work with every week. How are these enduring issues important to the characters in this part of the book? So you're choosing one or two, and you're writing a few sentences. How are these enduring issues important to the characters in this part of the book? And for your book group discussion, we'll get into that in a moment, but I want you to type 2 things in A and B, about these settings in your book. How was the setting important for your story? What was your favorite setting from the book? And for your circle group discussion, you're going to type in A and B these answers. If you went on a trip to this setting, name one thing you would like to do the most and one thing you would be most worried about happening while you were there. And so then we get to the discussion portion. And, well, how are we going to do discussion if we are not all in the same room? That is really up to you to get creative with. You could create a doc that you are communicating with and share it. You could write out the conversation on a social media tool that you have. It could be on Messenger or Snapchat group chat, or you could be texting each other. If you're going to do one of those, please take screenshots and send them to me as attachments in email, and I will get them, and there we go. For C and D, for both categories, you are going to be typing two things that your book group members said. And that is it. This doc is due turned in Friday at 11:59 p.m. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to comment on this post or email me at tperry@brackencsd.org. Like I said, I'll check it at any time. And thank you for being the guinea pigs for this experience. Enjoy the ends of your books. I think there's a lot to get out of your specific books, and stay safe out there.